sharing the wealth. Let's go. Shall we begin? If we are to spend the treasure wisely, then we must first determine which groups will benefit most from monetary assistance. Some of my citizens may find it intimidating to speak with the satrap directly, so I'd ask that you act in my stead. Sounds good. Alright, you're to visit Akiala and Yerlimat, speak with Matsia and his people, and listen to their grievances. Estinian, I bet you to do the same at Palaka's stand. I'll be conducting my own inquiries at the Giant Skull grounds. Once you believe you have ascertained the needs of the populace, we can reconvene at Megaduta. Sounds good. Okay, let's start in Yetlima. I have to go to Akiala first. That's fair. Would have been nice if that would have been like a choice where to go first, but I don't mind. Oliver, I was so glad to see you had returned unarmed. You've finished with the boater then? Yeah, kind of have it back. Anything the village desperately needs? Well, I suppose Kazal's loss hit us the hardest. I've been trying to find buyers for my fish, but although I sell a few here and there, it's so much more difficult than it was before. Everyone's still struggling to rebuild their lives. For now, we're just banding together as best we can. Makes sense. Okay. Greetings and welcome, traveler. If this is your first visit to FFXIV, then you must try my special Amra Lassi. Its refreshing zest cannot be beat. What could such a wonder cost, you wonder? Normally I part with 3 bottles for the generous price of 19,800 gil, but for you, I'm willing to go as low as even 10,000. You'd be practically stealing from me. I am not Estinian. Still not turning a profit these days? Gonna be nice to him. Times are harsh, my friend. The world may no longer be on fire, but we are still sifting through the ashes, so to speak. Sister, spare me. We might as well have that ugly tower back for the scant few travelers we see these days. I myself barely have the coin to buy at the local prices. I'll tell you, if I didn't charge the odd adventurer a small fortune for afternoon tea... Oh, sorry. I misclicked there. I'd be scavenging for scraps in the street. I need to quickly charge my headphones. 1 second. Okay. Right, we are not the odd adventurer. You cannot scalp us for that stuff. How fair is the port? Well, it's in shambles, isn't it? The trade routes are open once more now that the danger has passed, certainly, but no small number of merchants have had to sail their ships to make ends meet in the short term. Add to that the sailors were lost in the final days, and it's little wonder the flow of exports is no more than a pitiful trickle. If Khazal and his consortium were still with us, I'm sure he'd have found a way to turn our fortunes around. Now that was a man who got things done. God's rest his soul. Okay. You have spoken with key local figures and gained an understanding of the populace's hardship. Warshan awaits your report. Megaluta. Sounds good. I'll talk to you more. We'll skip by for now, but what we really need is for someone to come in with a plan, and preferably some coin to spare. Okay. Do you have any other? No. Okay, nothing more to say on your end. I guess Matsuya also doesn't have anything more to say now that I've passed them in terms of the quest. But it doesn't hurt to double check. Like leaving the selling to Khazal, I could just catch the fish and not have to talk people into eating them. I liked leaving the selling to Khazal. I could just catch the fish and not have to talk people into eating them. Okay, that makes more sense. Jesus, my brain did not work that sentence. Okay, back to there. It would seem my stint on Vitra's back did not go unnoticed. I couldn't take 2 steps before another Twefnarian was thanking me profusely for saving their home. Oh. Well, no one recognized me, apparently, and I did bloody save the whole thing. Oh well. I did change my glamour, I guess. Ah, my advisor's return. I've just made it back myself. Why do you retain this vessel now that your true form is known? You could have flown across the island on a fraction of the time. Be that as it may, the sight of a massive creature descending from the sky can be startling to say the least, and there are a few places I can enter comfortably without risk of flattening some cart or stall. Oh, fair enough. As for my inquiries, the people of Palakistan were anonymous in their reply. They are surviving. Resources were stretched to the limit when refugees were pouring in, but they persevered with some assistance from Yetilimat. What I understand, they have always been an independent community, hunters and foragers and the like, and I was assured that the jungle provides for their needs. For the most part. Palakistan has weathered the disaster better than most, it seems. I must have heard good news. And bad. The quarrymen were cautiously optimistic, having just sold a full wagon of giant's gold to a foreign trader. But such visitors are few and far between. Compared to our best years, the weight of stone leaving Favnir has been light indeed. Our nation is small and isolated, its prosperity dependent on a steady stream of exports. We must identify any obstacles to the flow of trade, so we may begin working to remove them. Tell me, what did you learn in Akyali and Yetlimat? Pretty much what that issue around that is. Huh, I see. Without a dedicated buyer, the average fisherman must struggle to offload his daily catch. Which is why I believe we should first address the lack of ships and shortage of able-bodied sailors in Yetlimat. I am reminded of a child I spied as I made my way back to the palace. His father lost at sea when the beast sunk their vessel. So many variations of the same tragic tale, repeated over and over. So many lives lost. Yeah. Enough grief to drown in if we let ourselves be overcome, but we will not. Laverne Estinian, I'll consider the perspectives you brought me and devise a plan to help my people confront this adversity. Come, I would like you to be in attendance when I announce the proposal to my assembled functionaries. Oh, sounds good.
I thank you for your attendance.
Voiced cutscene. Yes.
The riches the Radiant Host have retrieved were hoarded in Alzadar's name. A fortune I set aside for a future day of need. And lo, that day hath come. May it aid our wounded city in reclaiming its vibrancy and vigor. In better times, I would leave such a task to our capable Ahawan. God's rest his soul. Finding myself bereft of his counsel in the here and now, I will assume the responsibilities of mine office directly. Firstly, the treasure shall be sold for more convenient currency. Thence, invested into the trading port of Yedlamad. Our merchants must have their operations restored, their ships rebuilt. Commerce must flow once more. None were spared the tragedy of the final days. Of this, I am well aware. But an absence was created by the loss of Kalzar's consortium. And by filling it, we provide new means for our fishermen, our artisans, and others to bring their wares to distant markets.
And what of the children who were left without family to care for them?
That is a concern which weigheth heavily upon my mind. A simple gift of coin will soon be exhausted, leaving these young souls adrift on the fringes of our society. Nay, a proper solution is needed, one which doth guarantee their welfare for years to come. Thou hast surely seen how other nations rise to meet this challenge, adventurer. What dost thou deem the wisest course?
Well, taxes, levy them on trade profits in exchange for your investment. Takes a village, ... Idleshire's orphanage was funded through trade and highly coveted goods. That's an idea. I don't like taxes. I'm not a fan. So yeah. Trade is already what not Idleshire, Favnea is known for. So just trade more.
Of course, we can draw on trading profits
Yeah.
to build a new
Use the
institution.
profits to invest. It's the easiest thing to do. No need to.
Let us put this idea into practice. A contract shall be written, requiring all who receive of Al-Zadal's treasure to commit a portion of their future earnings towards the running of an orphanage.
They're basically investing in their own future. The future.
Such an influential policy is deserving of a worthy name.
Future workers, future buyers. Why not honor one of your most successful merchants? Name it after me.
A successful merchant? I believe I see thy reasoning.
I mean, the answer's the same. Either Khazar, like going for the Khazar option, or this one.
Should be remembered, not as the blasphemy which terrorized Daphne, but as a hard-working and generous man who brought much wealth to our shores. Do any among you object to this proposition? Many here lost loved ones to the beasts.
In that time of strife, any one of us could have broken. Any one of us may have been taken by despair. When I think of Kalzal, I feel no hatred. Only a stinging regret that we could not save him as well.
Well said.
Isn't that right, men?
Agree with me.
This bodes well for that boy. Murad, was it? Perhaps he can cut ties with that shady peddler.
That would be nice, yes.
Then let it be done. Henceforth, this initiative shall be known as the Kalzal Foundation.
I like it.
Nabdeen, thou art to assemble a patrol and ensure that no child in this city liveth in squalor.
Please do make sure that you only tell the children who are living on their own that there's an orphanage.
See to the management of our funds and make haste. Our citizens must not suffer a day more than is necessary.
Dragon and man, side by side in pursuit of a brighter morrow. Reminded of Ishgard.
Ishgard weathered a different storm, but yes. Just give me the cash, honestly. Doesn't matter. It does not matter at all. Alright. Let's talk to Asinian. Vitra is warming to his role as satrap. All those years behind the curtain were not spent napping. Bridging the rift. Now for the interesting part of the story. We've done with the important. Let's deal with the interesting. Thank you for putting forth Khazal's name. Those whose lives you're enriched will take comfort in seeing his legacy honored. You'll forgive me for not speaking sooner, but I bear a message from Archon Ishtola, or Yashtola technically. She asked that you meet her at the High Crucible at your earliest convenience. Understood. Thank you. Yashtola must have finished her study of the Void Gate. Shall we hear what she has to say then? I will go with you. I thought the satrap would be too busy setting up the foundation. My clerks have been the well-oiled cogs of this administration since before R1 assumed his office. I understand what needs to be done. I'm curious to learn what conclusion your Archon has reached concerning the gate's unique construction. As you wish, allow me to lead the way, Your Excellency. I like that he is looking at me when he says that. You can find your way to the High Crucible, I trust. I must rejoin my unit and assist with bringing the city's orphans under our care. Sure. I'll just go over here. Scroll over and click Etherred Plaza. Ba-dum bum ba-dum. And then just hit sprint and run for our lives. Alright. Estinian. For one who claims it is too late to save his sister, Vitra seems awfully interested in whatever revelations Yashtula might have to share. Shall we hear what your scholarly comrade has to say? Let's go.
Right, here we all are.
Well, 3 of us. 4 of us, technically.
You discovered something new.
I took a closer look at that device. I was able to determine how it keeps the Void Gate sealed, but not how it might instead be employed to expand the opening.
That is progress.
For that, I would need to reference the technique developed by Vitra's alchemists, no records of which appear to have survived the intervening years.
We know this, so why have you sent for us? Have you learned aught of value or not?
Patience, good sir. One must introduce the subject before launching into specifics. From what we understand, travel between worlds is accomplished by passing through the nebulous rift which exists between them.
Yes. The interdimensional
Picture,
rift.
if you will, the moment you were called to the first.
I mean, we have crossed rifts a couple of times.
You touched a focus of some kind to help the Exarch pinpoint your location. His summoning spell then channeled the energies of the Crystal Tower to begin your journey to his world.
Yes.
The magics tore a hole in the wall separating source and shard, and cast you into the intervening nothingness. In that place, the laws of nature hold no sway.
Omega did something similar, as we know.
Yet even through this realm of temporal and spatial instability, you were borne safely to your destination in the first. The feat that guided you across such an unimaginable distance, both physical and metaphorical, was nothing short of a miracle.
Then what of the many void sent found in the source? Who guides them here, and how?
An excellent question. Though there are several methods by which the Void's denizens might intrude upon our world, the rituals of summoning are the most typical.
called for from someone on this side.
For example, let us consider the gargoyle, a creature of middling power.
Of which we have defeated many in our past. Ooh.
To call upon such an entity, the prospective summoner must force open a void gate. The portal lasts but a moment and is relatively small, allowing only an imp or other lesser being to squeeze through with their physical body intact.
Sure.
Our more powerful gargoyle, however, is too large for that. Creating a gate big enough for him would require vast amounts of energy, far beyond the reserves of any one mortal practitioner. Instead, 'tis far more common to bring over only the entity's soul. We had a taste of that ourselves when a certain exarch dragged us to the first.
Oh. Okay.
And just as our bodies remained in our world, the Void Sense physical form is left behind in the 13th.
The soul inhabit the statues and therefore become flesh, basically.
Once at its destination, the summoned soul is granted a temporary shell to inhabit. In the gargoyle's case, a stone effigy has proven a suitable vessel.
Wait. You said that Voidsent must be called here deliberately by someone in the source, reeled in like a fisherman with his catch.
Yes. That's a theory.
Exactly. For a being to navigate the chaos of the rift, with or without form, there must needs be a guiding agent on the other side.
When the hordes poured forth from Alag's Great Gate, it was the technologists who drew them through. Though to my knowledge, planar fissures are in essence natural passages between our world and the void, which require no such guidance to traverse. Why is only the boundary between the source and the 13th so fragile? So much so that it often tears open of its own accord.
I believe solving that mystery is key to understanding travel between the source and its reflections.
And how do you intend to get your answers?
I would assume the reason for that is because of how the 13th was created. It never rejoined with the source, but there's like a lingering calamity, basically still hanging the balance there. So, yeah, I guess that's the issue. Like the void, the 13th, is just so chaotic in ether, and the pressure it exudes onto the source is just so big that it is easier to create these fissures. It's like, basically if you have like a water balloon with like a very thin layer, at some point it's gonna burst. That's my theory at the very least, for the time being, that is.
No. The danger is too great.
Perhaps. But what some call danger, others think of as adventure.
You got
Were
me
you
there.
listening to my tale? Never mind that the means to expand the gate has been lost to the ages. Even could you force the portal wide enough, you would be greeted by an army of murderous horrors the very instant you step through.
I assure you I was most attentive. And I agree that to go alone would be certain death.
Oh.
But if I were to bring along one who has already braved the 13th and humbled the cloud of darkness, well, I imagine my chances would be much improved.
Hey, Yashtula, I go to the edge of the universe with you. I don't mind. Count me in.
I had a feeling you might say that. Once again, I put my life in your ever-reliable hands.
Don't you worry, I will carry you.
That said, as much as I would like to march straight back to the Void Gate, there is the small matter of being unable to open it without the Sartrap's personal authority.
Yashtula.
As I've said before, I will grant you and yours any boon you choose to name, provided it does not endanger my people.
You can endanger yourselves.
You have my word that we will take every precaution. Not a single void scent will be allowed to threaten Radzatan, assuming we manage to expand the portal in the first place.
You have a plan.
Of course she has.
Actually, I had hoped you might help us with that. I presume the alchemists you retained supplied you with some explanation of their methodology.
That they
Technically.
did. House Daimir was overseeing the project.
Oh.
Daimir. Ah, yes. The family associated with the great work.
I did not fully comprehend the theory, but their research began with a void scent which had slipped through the fissure.
You know what would be really nice at this point? We just heard that Vitra personally has heard an entire explanation of how it works. And while he might have been unable to understand it, he has heard it nonetheless. So, if we were able to actually control our echo to relive the past of someone else's memory, basically, we could literally just tap into that history, that moment in time, listen to that explanation, and be like, hey, Yashtula, that's the explanation. Does that work for you? Can you work with that? Would that be nice? We really need to figure out how to control the echo, finally. Like, fuck, I forgot her name. The prior Azim. What was her name? Something of V, but I can't. For the life. Oh damn. Venat, I'm sorry, that took me way too long. So, Venat technically showed us how to use the echo to relive memory of a place of lingering ether. I wish she had literally told us how to, you know, figure out how to trigger the echo by ourselves. That would be so handy right now.
After a thorough examination, they created an arcane simulacrum possessed of similar qualities. A man-made void scent, if you will. It was apparently indispensable in their efforts to enlarge the gate.
A man-made void scent.
Interesting.
Yes. Being great admirers of the Archons, House Daymir submitted detailed notes to Charlene's official committee. They expected praise and accolades for their simulacrum. And were thus devastated to be informed that their work had been classified as prohibited material.
Of course it was.
If that's true, then those notes might still be stored in a forbidden archive somewhere. Not Google, of course, since that library had yet to be built. Which leaves us with...
Sharlayan itself. With Graha's favorite place to sneak around. I forgot when Sharlayan was founded, and I actually should know that, but you know. Sharlayan. No, actually didn't want to go here. Give me the actual... Sharlayan. Nation. Thank you. It was... History. Legendary figures known as the 12 Archons are widely believed to have saved a great many Gaussian lives during the 6th Emperor Calamity, Nooncrep. So this is already also the 6th Emperor Calamity. Which is interesting. So if Sharlayan was founded, yeah, it was founded in the 6th Umbral era. Huh. So this opening happened in the last 1500 years? 1100 years, technically, if I look at the... So the studium itself was founded in 432 of the 6th asteroid era, Umbral era, so no, 6th asteroid era. Oh no, the 6th Umbral era passed, and the 6th Nungprup's village had okay. Still, it surprises me that Sharlayan already existed in that time, or that it was so late that the Meteor started this. But okay. With the restricted section of Numenon.
Yes, it may very well hold a copy.
I mean, I get the fact
In which
that...
case, I say we head directly to Sharlayan.
Unless you anticipate needing help to reach the high shelves. I see myself being of little use. Go on ahead. I still need to find Mirad and tell him about the Kalzal Foundation.
Do that, please, yes.
Let us be on our way as well.
They are resolved to venture into the void. Do I sit idly by?
I mean, please don't. So yeah, Sharlayan was basically founded after the 6th Umbral Calamity, because that was the calamity of water. There was the entire, like, Numkrup's arc story, blah 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 blah, which then found them, like, to give you a quick history lesson here. So, 6th Umbral Calamity was the calamity of water. Was a great flood that ended the War of the Magi in the 5th Astral Era. As both scholar and seer of the day described, the realm's elemental imbalance culminated in a far-reaching flood that eventually swept over Eorzea. The scholars are that basically, like, some scholars figured out that this was going to happen, kind of. They foresaw all of that somehow. And I am blind. Might be in the wrong area, actually. No, it is... Well, I'm not in the wrong area, I'm on the wrong side of the map. Yeah, it's on the other side of all of this. So, there were scholars, basically the precursors of the Sharlayans, who foresaw all of this through astrology and whatever. And they built an arc, which is this one. This is the arc they used to survive the Umbral Calamity. And it is Numkrup's Hope. It's literally called like that. So you can see you can't go in there because it was probably flooded. It's like, I guess, a submarine slash boat or something. Either way, they used it to survive the calamity. It somehow ended up here in the middle of like, they basically started here and somehow made it to Gearbania. When the flood ended, they were stranded here, tried to start up colonies, war break out, well, faction wars and scrabbles broke out and whatever. They made their way back to a coast. I don't know if it's ever said which coast. Built another ship, made it back to Sharlayan, and founded Sharlayan basically back then. That is how the story of Sharlayan. Yeah, so they were basically looking for the highlands of Gearbania because they were hoping that the highlands were high enough above the flood, so there was a little bit of land left here. That was basically the theory back then. Yeah, that was the idea. And then it did not work really, or whatever. Yeah. And that was Sharlayan founded. The problem I have with this is Fafnir was already around, and Basset Han was already around for like over 3,500 years. Ajushdala was lost to Ritra for 3,800 years at that point. I can't see Ritra waiting for all of these studies until Sharlayan was... Well, like, there are two options. The studies with, like, the Void Central Molacrum happened way earlier. And they had notes of that and gave it to Sharlayan when Sharlayan was founded. Or they gave that to the Sharlayans way before the or like after the Allegan Empire and way before the 6th Umbrella Calamity, which means that even back then, Sharlayan basically tried to save whatever knowledge they had. I'm confused.